My name is Barbara Gutierrez, and I'm really happy to start this panel, Dubbing Resident Evil Village. Yes, this is what we're going to talk about now. To celebrate the release of Resident Evil Village, dubbed in Portuguese, Capcom will make a presentation with part of the dubbing cast. Fabio Santana, PR and localization manager for Capcom in Brazil, will tell us a little bit about the localization process, tell us about the voice actors, and talk to some of these people who were voicing the main characters. This session will be held in Portuguese, so if you'd like to listen to it in English, please check out the link we have on this channel. Our moderator will be Fabio Santana, PR and localization manager for Capcom in Brazil. Hi, Barbara. Good evening. Thank you for having us. We're really happy to be here. Right back at you. And I'm so happy to have you here because at the end of the day, this is a landmark for the Resident Evil community, for Capcom, for Brazil, and for the big festival. We're really happy to have you here. You may begin. Take it away. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Fabio Santana, and I am a PR and game localization manager for Capcom in Brazil. Good evening. If you are at the big festival, if you are a Resident Evil fan, and if you are a press channel who is here. Today, we're here to talk about this big release, Resident Evil Village. For the first time ever for this franchise, it is fully dubbed in Brazilian Portuguese, and we are releasing it today. So we have a lot of fresh content. And initially, we're going to talk about the game, but then we're going to have a conversation with some of the voice actors who were a part of this big moment for us. Resident Evil Village is the 8th game in this franchise. We used RE Engine by Capcom and the best technology for modern consoles. We wanted to create the next generation of survival horror. Resident Evil Village happens a few years after what happened in Resident Evil 7. And we have top-notch technology. As I said, we have RE Engine for ray tracing for most modern consoles and also for PC. We wanted to create a realistic game. This game takes place in a village, a faraway village in Europe, with a lot of different landscapes and a lot of different enemies. And of course, a highlight for this franchise are the characters. We have new and old characters. We have allies and enemies in Resident Evil Village. And we need to think about the strategy with the Winters family. Ethan and Mia are married, and they went through a lot of trauma in Resident Evil 7 at the Baker's property. Years later, they are rebuilding their lives in Eastern Europe, and they have a daughter, Rosemary Winters, baby Rose. Now, tragic events happen again with the Winters family as they try to rebuild their life. We see a beloved hero again, Chris Redfield, and he gets to their house and kills Mia in front of Ethan and takes baby Rose away. This is how Resident Evil Village starts. Then Ethan finds himself in a somber village where he's going to look for Rose, and he's going to find suspicious enemies and ferocious enemies. He will start a journey to find his daughter and to find out what is going on. In the gameplay for Resident Evil Village, we have the foundations of this series. Of course, we have a lot of horror. And if you've watched any live streams today, you've probably noticed that we have a lot of scary scenes. We've also renewed our combat mechanics. We have enemies with high grade AI, and we have exploration as well. You're able to explore different environments, very large environments, and you can use items to get access to new areas. This is a game that brings a lot of the exploration into the gameplay. Still on gameplay, we have a bit of news here, the store, and this is actually coming back. This was really used in Resident Evil 4 with the merchant, and fans will certainly remember him. And here we have the Duke, who owns this store. At the store, you can buy items, improve them, improve weapons, among other things. We also have a lot of content. This is a very robust campaign, very rewarding campaign as well. We're now bringing back the mercenary mode, which fans usually love. You can see a bit of information about this mode on the screen. We have a lot of replayability because of it. And we have a lot of extras that we could use here as we finish the campaign. We were celebrating the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil recently. We've been in love with it for 25 years, and Resident Evil is beloved by Brazilian fans. From the get go, we've noticed that Brazilian fans really love Resident Evil. You can see this old magazine from the 1996, and I wrote the article for the cover of this magazine, and I could never have imagined that one day I would work directly with this franchise. We've always stood out among Brazilian press channels, and we've always worked with our communities from the beginning. And a while back, we would have fan clubs getting together through these magazines. At the beginning of the internet, we started having forums as well. And the community in Brazil has always gotten together and created even websites. Here we have the Resident Evil database and review, or Revel actually. These websites have been around for almost 20 years, and they always talk about any news we might have in the franchise, the history of these characters, and the passion that we have for this franchise. When it comes to these games being in Brazil, we've had game localization since 2012 with Resident Evil 6. We've had other games being localized to Brazilian Portuguese with Revelations 1, Revelations 2, and 7. We also reimagined Resident Evil 2, and then in 2020, the revisiting of Resident Evil 3, which we see on screen. But fans wanted more, right? Subtitles were not enough. And a turning point for us was the Brazil Game Show in 2018 when we had Yoshiaki Abarashi here talking about Resident Evil. And he got in touch with Brazilian fans and he saw how passionate they are. We also held a breakfast with this community and our producers. We had Hirabayashi-san and Okabe-san, the producer of Resident Evil 5. They had breakfast with a lot of content creators in Brazil for Resident Evil. They got to hear their stories, they got to hear about their personal tastes, and about the future of this franchise. And of course, for the future of this franchise in Brazil, we needed voice acting. Then we heard about Resident Evil Village. It was announced in June of 2018, and right off the bat, our community started asking us for dubbing in Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village. And they started this hashtag Capcom, please have a dubbed version of Resident Evil 8. And at Capcom, we've always paid attention to what the community was asking for, everything that fans wanted to have. Finally, for the first time ever, we were able to offer dubbing at Resident Evil Village. So, in our 25 years with this franchise, this is the first time we have a dubbed game. Now, to make this dream come true, we needed to hire a number of people all over the world in different time zones. At the beginning, we got the first translation of our script, and we had to do a validation process here. We verified the text and we verified the script, always trying to follow the high quality that we've always had in this series and always making sure that we were in sync with other localizations and with references from the past. Here we see a word, forasteiro, in Portuguese, which has always been an inspiration for us. It works really well in Portuguese, and in English, it means outsider. And we try to keep these references in our script in Brazilian Portuguese because fans know where this is coming from. We also had to choose our voice actors. We held auditions, and usually these auditions are only carried out for the main roles. But since this is the first time we have voice acting for this game in Brazil, we had this kind of audition for other roles as well. The test included real lines from the game so that we could really evaluate these professionals and choose them. And we chose them not only according to their voice, but according to their acting as well. Our voice actors were truly acting even during the tests. And it was tough on us because we had an amazing roster of voice actors and they all nailed it. It was really hard to choose some. Then we had recording sessions. Our voice actors went to a studio in Sao Paulo, and of course, we were in compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols. Some of our technical team was working remotely, and at Capcom, we were able to be a part of this process remotely. And we were overseeing many of these recording sessions because this is the first time we have voice acting for a game, and also because we wanted to help with our know how and with all the information that we have about the series, about the characters, and about everything that happens in this story. We wanted actors to have as much information available to them as possible so that they could provide us with the best acting they could. This process took a few weeks.
And of course, after the process was finished, we also had the mission of, communicating this big news. We wanted to have a huge announcement with the Brazilian community because they were expecting this anxiously, and they deserved it. So we had one of the game's producers recording a message exclusively for the Brazilian fans. Peter Fabian recorded it and sent it to us here in Brazil. And It was played on Loading, which is an open broadcast TV show for all of Brazil. So we had all the team from Multiverso. They were celebrating live. They read reactions from social media. People were interacting live. And actually, this was a trending topic for Brazil and Twitter that day. The fact that the game was going to be dubbed in Portuguese for the first time. But we were very curious to see how they were going to react to our voice acting work. And it started when the first gameplay demo was launched on April 17, and the fans and content creators were able to live stream. So we saw these reactions and we were anxious to see what they would react like. Just by looking at this facial expression, we can get an idea of how positive it was, at least with Revo. So we got an image as well from Monique from Resident Evil Database reacting to the second demo, right at the moment in which the Dutch makes a reference to a previous game in the series, to the merchant in the previous series. So she was really surprised, and that was a reaction she got from the voice acting work. So we were very happy to see that positive reaction. And the end result, from the moment we announced it until the launch and until today, the reception has been very positive. We've gotten very good reviews. We've seen amazing reactions from live streamers, a lot of compliments for the dub. And now we're going to watch a preview prepared by our partners at WB Games, and we'll see a dub
Classificação
preview.
18 anos.
Eminentes, ouçam nossas vozes, unidas em reverência.
O sino do castelo prenuncia o perigo. Eles estão vindo!
Qual é dessa história sinistra? Ela só tem 6 meses.
A vendedora disse que era uma história tradicional da região.
Meu Deus! Que cheiro gostoso. O que é isso?
Pode ir tirando a mão.
O que você está fazendo com a minha filha? Queria poder ficar assim pra sempre.
Isso é só paranoia sua.
Não é. Não! O quê? O quê? Papai não vai deixar nenhum monstro de conto de fadas te pegar.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hora do jogo!
Caralho, onde eu tô?
Eu estava esperando você, Sr. Winters.
Como sabe o meu nome?
Todo mundo que se preze já ouviu falar em você. Um herói em busca da filha.
É você, o pai da criança.
Alguém pode me explicar que porra tá acontecendo aqui?
Nós não sabemos. Éramos só uma pacata e devota vila. E aí, de repente, os monstros vieram e atacaram.
Vejamos se você é mesmo especial. Sim, mãe.
Sangue de homem.
Haverá o bastante pra todo mundo.
Licanos e cavalheiros! Agradeço a paciência. Agora os jogos vão começar.
Vejamos o que é capaz. Ethan Winters.
Para de choro, estamos quase lá.
Caramba!
O que tá rolando?
Tem uma arma?
Quê?
Diga que tem uma! Acha que dá pra simplesmente esquecer o que aconteceu na Louisiana?
Eu disse não!
Por que tá acontecendo essa merda de novo? Por que todo mundo tá morrendo?
Cuidado com o que deseja.
Merda! Ethan, Não. A mãe Miranda vai adorar você.
What amazing voices and what amazing acting. And now we're going to have the honor of bringing to you tonight some of the voice actors who uh, were a part of this project and in a very special moment. So first, we're going to be talking to the main character, Ethan Winters. He voiced, this is a fun fact, but he also voiced another Ethan who is also a main character in Dragon's Dogma, which is also a Capcom IP, available on Netflix. And he also voiced Cisco Ramon in Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. And he also played Peter Quill, Star-Lord from the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he also played other Chris Pratt characters, such as the protagonist in Jurassic World. We're talking about Rafael Rossato. It's an honor to speak to such a dear, famous voice actor. Welcome, and tell us a bit about playing Ethan. What was it like? Of course, I have goosebumps all over just by watching that preview. I got tears in my eyes, really, because I'm a big fan of Resident Evil since I was a kid. So, to be able to experience, to be able to play a character in the first localization of Resident Evil in Brazil is very special for me, really. And Ethan in this game is a bit more mature. He's gone through a lot, right? In that time span from 7 to 8, he went through military training. So he is more prepared, but at the same time, he isn't, because he never imagined that this was going to happen again. Right, and he speaks more now than in Resident Evil 7, right? Yes, thank you, by the way. I love it. And he screams a lot too. I mean, he suffers a lot. He really takes a beating, much more than in 7. But thank you so much for being here, Rafael. We're going to be talking a bit more. We have some questions from the fans for you to answer. And let's introduce our next guest, who voices Ethan's wife, Mia Winters. She is a very famous voice actor. She also has many fans in Brazil, and she has done one of the best performances in the world. She's played Misato Katsuragi in Evangelion, Avados in Dragon Ball Super, Mary Jane in the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series, and Sharon Carter in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, and the recent Falcon and the Winter Soldier miniseries. And we're talking about the wonderful Priscila Franco. Welcome, Priscila, and thank you for accepting our invitation and being a part of this panel. And also thank you for lending your voice to Mia Winters. Tell us a bit about your character. Well, thank you, first of all. It's a pleasure to, thank you for calling me wonderful. That was great. And I love what I do. As we were saying before, lending my voice to games and even movies and cartoons as we do is fantastic. It's a pity that Mia is not in her best, but the best part of her life in this game, right? Before she would get a possession and go back to normal, but it was a pleasure to play a mother. Now she has Rosemary, her daughter. That's right. So that was a complete transformation for your character in the village, right? Yes, what she was before and what she became, it's like she's a different person, of course. And it was a pleasure. Like Rafael said, I'm not a gamer. Maybe someone can give me a console and I'll learn, but I love seeing the preview. And it really is exciting because we're getting closer and closer to movies, right? Games are becoming more immersive. So to see everyone's work, it's amazing. Every time I see, I get very excited. Yes, so we wanted to offer a movie like experience. And this, of course, relates to the characters and how they're played. You need to, perform as a voice actor. You need to have, you know, teamwork in creating the scenes and the script and the acting so that the end result is something that really fans will appreciate and that is not left behind when it comes to TV shows and movies and other forms of entertainment, like you said. Yes, it's great. Thank you, Priscilla. And we're still going to talk a lot here. We got very interesting questions from the fans for you to answer. And we're going to introduce our next voice actor who plays the voice of Chris Redfield, this hero who has now a mysterious role in Resident Evil Village. And he comes back from the past to make things difficult for the Winters family. He kills Mia and takes Rose, so there's that mystery behind him, right? And to voice this character, we also invited another voice actor who is very famous and played several roles in movies, TV shows, animation. He's known for playing Korath in Guardians of the Galaxy or of the Pursuer, and he also played him in the Captain Marvel movie. He played Ajax in the Deadpool movie, and he was the protagonist, Shazam, in the Shazam movie. He voiced Zachary Levi in Shazam. And this is interesting. He also voiced Chris Redfield. Although this is the first game that has been dubbed in Portuguese, we had a CG animation, Resident Evil Vendetta, where he also played Chris Redfield, and now he's playing the character again. We're talking about the famous Leo Rabello. Welcome, Leo, to the stage. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being here with us today. And tell us a little bit about what it was like to relive this character.
Rapaz, é sempre maravilhoso, né? Cada trabalho é uma surpresa.
Every new job is a new surprise.
Assim, eu tô igual todo mundo aí, né? Querendo saber qual é a dele. Porque continua sendo um mistério para mim, né? E para todo mundo que ainda vai presenciar aí essas novidades, essas revelações aí do
everyone will go on this journey with us as the story unfolds. And people may think that since you were the voice actor, you know the whole story. But usually, voice actors don't really see everything that is going on, right? Yes, we can't really know for sure. We say that we go into a job knowing nothing, and we get out of it knowing even less than that. And this is magic about this work. And in this case, more specifically, we have a very mysterious character. And of course, we want to figure him out. Where does he stand? What is happening? Because Chris has always been a hero for this franchise, but now he goes and does this awful thing. So, how was this experience for you? Because you voiced Chris Redfield when he was a hero,
Sim.
and now he's basically the
Eu,
anti-hero.
eu acho que vai ser o que todo mundo, né, vai achar. Eu fiquei surpreso.
Yep, and
Logo
I was
quando
surprised, as
comecei a
I
gravar
think everyone will
as primeiras
be.
falas dele, né?
As I was recording his first
Foi
lines,
surpresa. Foi
I was
surpresa
taken
do início ao
aback.
fim. E como eu disse, a gente
It
sem
really
saber,
surprised me
né,
from beginning to end.
do que está
And as I was
envolvendo
saying,
toda
we
aquela
start a
trama,
job
o
without
porquê dele estar
knowing
fazendo aquilo,
anything
né?
about it. We
Tá
don't
com
know the plot. We
essa
don't know why
possível
they are
fama de
doing
vilão,
the things
né?
that they are
Porque eu
doing.
também não sei, mas não quero que me
And
conte.
people
Para
are
mim, eu
calling
quero que
him
seja
a
surpresa.
villain, quote unquote, but who
Mas
knows?
é
I don't
interessante,
know, and I don't
entendeu?
want to
É
spoil
interessante. E só
anything,
um outro adendo.
but this is
Que você
interesting.
falou
And let me
do
add
CG,
something to what
do
you
Resident,
said.
eu também
You
fiz
were talking about
o mesmo
CG, right?
Chris Redfield no filme
And I
do
also
Resident
played
Evil com a Mila
Chris
Jovovich. E
Redfield in the
um
Resident
outro
Evil
fator
movie with
interessante
Mila
é que o
Jovovich.
ator que interpretou ele no Resident Evil,
And the
fazendo o
actor
Chris,
playing him
é
in
um ator que
Resident
eu também
Evil
dublo nas novelas
is
mexicanas, que é
also an actor
o
I
William Levy.
usually do voice acting for in Mexican soap operas.
Olha aí, estava
Oh, yeah,
escrito,
so
né?
it had to be you, right? No one else could have played this one. This is wonderful. Now, let me ask all of you a question, Rafael, Priscilla, and Leo. We saw this demo with voice acting for the first time ever. So the fans were able to get to watch it for a few weeks. And we now have this official announcement here during the big festival. But some fans had already recognized your voices. Did you get approached by any fans online congratulating you for this work?
Pode ir, pode ir.
Go ahead, Rafael. Yes, of course, especially on Instagram. A couple of minutes after the first demo was online, a lot of people were reacting and saying, wow, you were the voice actor for Ethan Winters, the first time Resident Evil was dubbed in Brazil. And I couldn't really confirm it. I just took a print screen for all of these comments and I thought, well, after I can talk about it, when I can talk about it, I'll reply to these comments. But a lot of people approached me. It was really cool. Yeah. And I don't think we saw a lot of Chris and Mia in the demos, but now that the game is available and people are live streaming it, I am sure that a lot of people are getting to know your work and your voices, and they are definitely recognizing them. We have some fan questions here. And these questions are really interesting. Question number 1. What is the biggest difference between doing voice acting for a game or doing voice acting for a movie or show? This question comes from a fan in the city of Curitiba in the state of Paraná. Another fan from Cortes in Pernambuco asks, when you were in the voice acting studio, did you have any access to the scenes and the visuals of the game? Or did you have to work only based on text? Let me start answering these. We truly had to rely on you, Fabio, for example, because you were there for many of our sessions. Because oftentimes we only have the audio of this game, which was recorded in English as a reference, and then we do what we gotta do according to this audio. And we do have to follow certain metrics because we need to make sure it fits, of course. So we do need your input and the input from the voice acting director who is going to support us and give us enough information for us to be able to imagine what is going on. because everyone is going to tell us the story in a different way, and we can get all of those inputs, hear the source audio, and try and do as much as we can to get closer to it. And sometimes when we have a small clip, a short video, it is beautiful for us because we can see the face of these characters. We can see how they move and how they stare at things. And I love looking at them. And usually people think that we are going to look at their mouths, but I always love looking at their eyes and figuring out how they move their eyes because I think our eyes tell a lot. So when we're able to do our work with videos or with images, it's awesome. So usually with movies or shows, we get visuals. And it makes it easier for us to really be immersed in the characters and in the situations we're living. But with gaming, we usually have to close our eyes, get deep, and just let it go. It's a little bit more difficult. How many sessions did you have to attend for the voice dubbing or the voice acting of Resident Evil Village? Do you remember the specific number of sessions that were required? I remember it really well because I was really excited. And I remember it was exhaustive. It was exhausting. One of the most exhausting projects I've ever had. Because Ethan screams very often. He's suffering a lot in this game. And I couldn't just fake a scream. I had to really go for it because he's going through some very real, very tough situations. So every time he's slaughtered, I had to fake despair. We had long sessions with many hours. It was exhausting, but it was really good. And you were asking about visuals, right? And it's very rare for us to get videos when we do voice acting for a game, but we did have many videos with Resident Evil. And I can't really see Ethan, of course, because we can't see him, but we could see where he was and why he was screaming, and his hands, which are really expressive throughout the game. And this was really helpful for me to be able to dive into the character and deliver higher quality work. And it's about the movement in voice acting as well, right? Yeah, both for Resident Evil 7 and 8, Ethan's hands are really important. He points to things, he points at things, he tries to shield himself from other things. Yeah, and I don't think a lot of fans truly understand how we have voice acting work done. They think everyone in a scene is recording together, for example, but this is not exactly what happens, right? Can you tell us about that,
Nem nos
Leo?
games e nem na dublagem. Hoje em dia,
Yeah,
grava-se separado
we're not
tudo, né?
together, neither
Então,
for voice
realmente
acting
tem
for
que ser
gaming
é
nor
um
for
trabalho
voice
mais,
acting
ficou mais
for movies
minucioso,
and
né?
shows. We have
Mas
to do it separately,
é
and
gratificante da
it's
mesma
very
forma.
detail-oriented
E
work,
eu tenho uma pergunta aqui pro
but
Rafa
it's
aí,
really
né?
rewarding.
Ele que fez o Ethan.
And I would like to
Pô, eu
ask
queria saber onde
Raphael
é que
a
vende aquela
question
poção, cara,
since
que
he
cura
played
assim tão
Ethan.
rápido, né? Porque
Let
aquela
me
ali
ask you, where can we find
ia
that
ser a mão na
potion?
roda.
Because it heals us a lot.
Olha aí.
Can we get revived with this potion? No, I don't think so. Well, I can give you the recipe later. It's a few oils and some herbs. Yeah, Chris certainly needs it. We have another question for Raphael. This one is about the way you acted or the way you represented and played Ethan. Ethan is always screaming. He doesn't really speak calmly. How was it for you to play this character and showcase so many emotions and so many feelings through your voice? We have another question from the Resident Evil database. What about your vocal cords after dubbing this character? Were they okay? This is an interesting question. Let me answer the last one first. I was, I lost my voice for over a week. And after the first recording session, I wasn't really feeling well, but I could get some rest and I was okay. But after maybe a week, I spent a couple of days without being able to truly use my voice, but it was worth it. And regarding the first question, we truly have to rely on the source material, especially with gaming, since we don't have video sometimes. We have to rely on the source material. And of course, there's always a bit of ourselves in the work we do. I tried to do it as closely as possible to the source Ethan, to the original Ethan. But I really wanted to add some color to it, and I played Resident Evil 7, so I knew his backstory, and I tried to really, really work on it to showcase this range of feelings and emotions because he's always getting hurt and he's always angry and he's always showing what he's feeling. Yeah, and we can see you fully went for it to play this character. We can clearly see how emotional it was. And there was a lot of movement, right? Because it's about fighting and exploring spaces and going up and down stairs and feeling afraid. So we're talking about a range of emotions that varies a lot because it's the main character. Yeah. And I got dizzy a number of times because I had to react to a lot of things and be out of breath and scream. And sometimes I did feel dizzy. And I think these reactions were cool. And they are very important for the game when he's walking around or when he's doing things. Yeah, and it's really interesting to see the final results, right, in the game.
We have a specific question for Priscilla, because for the first time, Mia Winters is going to be dubbed by her. But Resident Evil 7 was not dubbed, right? It was only available in English, so people know her voice in English. So the question is, in Resident Evil 7, Mia is possessed, right? So she has several voice changes which are bizarre. So what would it be like to play Mia possessed? Can you give us a sample? Do you think you can do it? All right, let's imagine it. I'll have to try it out, right? Maybe we can try and people will decide to have this Resident Evil 7 localized and dubbed, right? Right. Just to make clear, this is only we're just playing, okay? All right, so let's see what that would sound like. I did watch that scene, okay?
Mas você não devia ter feito aquilo. Doeu demais. Agora você vai ver o que é sentir dor. Ela é uma fofa, gente, no set.
He is so cute. You should have her.
Chama exorcista rápido.
Someone call an exorcist. I was really scared by that right now. That's my wife, guys. Oh, honey. So that's a thank you from the fans. That was phenomenal. Now there's another Mia, right? She's a mother. She's calm. That's right. I'm a whole different person now. Telling scary stories for kids to go to sleep, right? Yeah, I think there's a little bit of the old Mia there, right? She can't tell what it is, but it is there. So we had to get that from the fans. We had to get that for the fans, excuse me. Now, Leo, you play Chris wonderfully well in Resident Evil Village. So we got a question from the Resident Evil database again. Chris is officially described as one of the pillars of the Resident Evil franchise. How do you feel voicing such an iconic character? And Revel also is asking, did you know that he was one of the most iconic characters in Resident Evil? What was it like to create this portrayal of him?
Eu
I think you knew,
acompanho o
right, Lau?
Resident desde o primeiro, né?
That's right. I've been following up on Resident Evil since the first. So
se eu não me
I
engano,
had
foi
a
o
gap, I
quinto
think,
e o
probably
sexto,
between the fifth and the
porque
sixth game.
eu tava sem console, então
Because I
assim,
didn't have a console
eu
then,
não
so
acompanhei
I
a
didn't
história desses
follow
dois,
the story
entendeu? Mas
during those two
os primeiros
games, but I
quatro
did play the first
cheguei a
four,
jogar e fiquei com esse ato nesses
and
dois. Quando
I only
eu
had that gap
fui jogar o
there.
7,
When I started playing
eu me
7,
assustei,
I really
porque
got
essa
startled
jogabilidade em
because
primeira pessoa realmente
the first
joga lá
person
dentro
gameplay really
da
puts you
coisa,
in
né?
the scene, right?
E eu não pude jogar inicialmente
But
assim que
I
eu
was
peguei o jogo, porque minha
unable
filha era
to
pequena,
play
ela gostava de ficar do meu lado,
because
tal. Eu
my
falei,
daughter
pô, não é o
was
jogo para
really
eu
small. She
entrar
was
agora.
really
E
young.
aí, ela foi
She
crescendo,
wanted to be
tal, e
next to me,
depois eu fui
and
jogar.
I just couldn't play
Mas
it. But
nesse
as she
período, eu
grew,
fui na casa de um amigo
I
que ele
was able to
tinha
play again.
o
And during that
Resident e
time,
tinha
I went to a
o VR, né?
friend's
Ele falou, pô,
place,
tu já
and he had
jogou? Eu falei,
Resident
não.
Evil VR.
Aí
He
ele
asked
falou,
me
mas quer jogar o
if I had
Resident? Eu
ever
falei, não,
tried
pelo
it.
amor de Deus, esse aí não,
I
porque eu
said
já vi
no,
do que
and he
se
asked if I
trata, então
wanted to play Resident
eu não
Evil
quero
with
botar esse
VR
óculos,
goggles.
pelo
I
amor de
said
Deus.
no, I don't want to embarrass myself.
E sim, sei
So yes, I do know
importância dele, né?
how important the
De sempre,
character
e por
is.
isso eu
And
fiquei
that's
impressionado com esse
exactly
retorno. Tô
why
extremamente
I
curioso também para
was
descobrir
so
esse
excited
mistério, né?
about
Que
him
envolve
coming back.
ele,
And I
esse
got really wrapped up in the
retorno
mystery
dessa forma, né? Tão
about
misteriosa.
how he
Tô
comes
doido
back.
para descobrir.
It's a mystery, isn't it? So yes, quite a mystery. Hero or anti-hero? We'll find out.
Em breve.
So we could stay here for a long time. This has been a wonderful conversation. But we're going to have to start wrapping up because, everything has to end. But we'll have some more panels, and I'd just like to give you some time, Rafael, Priscilla, and Lel, just to make your closing remarks. And also, you can give us your social media handles so that people can follow you and see what else you're doing. So let's start with Rafael. So if you could give us your closing remarks. Of course. So first, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for choosing my voice for Ethan. I'm really proud of this job because I was very happy to do it. And with every comment I read online, with everything I get in the videos, everything that people say, it just makes me happier to have done it. If you want to follow me, my name is Rafael with a PH, Rosato with two S's and two T's. DUB. So Rafael Rosato, DUB. That's also my YouTube channel. And sometimes I have some Twitch streams going. I'll probably have one on the 28th. Rafael Rosato, DUB again. It will be great to see Ethan Winters playing Ethan Winters in a live stream. Priscilla, your closing remarks as well, and tell us your social media handles if anyone wants to follow. So thank you as well. Thank you for inviting us to tell you a little bit about our work, right? I wish we had time to tell you more. We love games localization. We love voice acting. It was a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you to the entire staff. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that you're not seeing. So thank you again. I'm not a big social media user. I don't do live streams or anything like that, but I am in Instagram as Preatrice DUB. So we'll see you next time. Yes, well, I think we've gotten someone to root for Rossetti. Oh, for root for Resident Evil 7, excuse me. So, Leo, if you could give us your handles as
também
well.
gostaria de agradecer aí a oportunidade,
All
o
right,
espaço e
so thank you for giving us some
convocação aí
space for this
para
opportunity.
participar desse projeto.
And actually, thank you for casting me in this project.
Foi muito bom, assim,
it was
é
great.
maravilhoso poder
It's wonderful to
participar, né,
be able to be a part
uma
of
coisa assim
something
grandiosa, né? Embora
so
você tenha colocado a
great,
gente num
right?
patamar de glorioso, mas
Although
glorioso
you said that
é o
we
trabalho, né?
are
Pelo amor
famous
de Deus.
and great, I think what's great is
assim, eu
the game, right?
Não sou como o Rafa e tô
And I'm
meio
not
junto com a
like
Pri aí.
Raphael, and
Não
I
sou
think I'm
tanto de
more
rede social,
on
tenho até
Priscilla's
que
side. I'm
pedir
not a
desculpa aí,
big
que às vezes a
user of
galera
social
manda
media,
mensagem
and I
e eu
apologize because
dei a
sometimes
mora, quando eu
people
vou
will
ver eu
send
esqueço
us
que tem
messages. I even
aquela
forget I
comunicação que
have a
você tem que
profile,
olhar
so
lá e o meu eu também
you
tô
have
pensando até em mudar
to
o
really
nome
keep
porque é
an eye on
difícil.
it. And
Acontece.
yes, I know.
E também gostaria de falar que você perguntou aí, eu acabei pulando.
And you
Teve o pessoal
had
perguntando,
asked,
né? E
but
a
I
gente
see
fica
that many
naquela, ai
people
meu Deus,
ask us
vão
questions
achar
that
que a
we have
gente
to think,
como é que fala, né? Pergunta e não responde, mas
They're going to think
é
that
que não
we're
podia,
just
né? Fiquei também
not
nervoso, todo mundo falando, e falou,
not
caramba, e
wanting to
agora,
answer,
né?
but I couldn't really. That's right, it was
Pois
a
é,
secret.
pra gente, a gente fica nessa situação.
So it's
Mas
a
o
tricky
Instagram
situation for
é
us, but my Instagram is
C4R3C4. Lê-se
C4R3C4.
careca, né? É um Instagram
It
antigo
spells
desde que
out
começou.
Careca.
E
So
acho que
it's my Instagram
explicado,
since
né?
I began. Careca means bald in Portuguese, so that's what it means.
Mas tá lá, quem quiser, vamos junto. Obrigado aí por tudo.
But that's what it is. So if you'd like to follow me, thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. And if you're a fan, please do encourage them, support them. Brazilian voice acting, as everyone says, is one of the best in the world. So thank you for being here and accepting this invitation to be a part of this conversation with us today. So now we're going to wrap up this panel, and we'd like to invite all of you to play Resident Evil Village. It's available in hard copies for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and for Xbox. And there's also a digital version for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Xbox S. It's in Steam now, dubbed in Portuguese for the first time ever. We'd like to thank you on behalf of Capcom. Thank you to the Big Festival for inviting us to be in this event today. Our partners in Warner, who distribute our hard copies in Brazil. Our voice cast, especially Rafa, Pri, and Leo, who are able to come here to talk to us, and our friends at the Keyword Studio who produced this. The fans, the community around Resident Evil here in Brazil, and our partners in Resident Evil Database and Revil, who are here with us tonight. Thank you and enjoy Resident Evil Village. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the voice artists. Thank you, Fabio. This is a landmark in video games in Brazil. I'll follow you all on social media. Congratulations on your incredible work. Thank you, and good night. Good night. And if you're a fan of Resident Evil, and if you're anxious to hear more, don't worry, because we're going to have a video on our YouTube channel on this, amazing landmark in video games. So look us up, Big Festival on YouTube.
Big Festival 2021, the biggest games festival in Latin America.